Great afternoon, kings and queens of Father's glorious nation. Today, we're going to reconnect with the divine flow of God. Or rather, yes, we're going to reconnect with the divine flow of God, or at least deepen our connection with the divine flow of God. We need to deepen our connection because in deepening our connection, we're able to flow more through life. And in order to flow, or rather, the definition to flow with God is when you have fully accepted not only His plan and His process, but you've learned the patience that comes and is record and is mandatory to accepting God's process and God's plan. Accepting An example of accepting God's process is when you have to be still. Is the moments when you feel that you should be doing something in order to get out of whatever situation that you is. Whenever you feel like you're not doing enough, or whenever you feel like everything that you're doing is just not coming through the way that you need to. Whenever things get like that, that simply means sometimes that simply means that it's just God's way of saying sometimes that's God's way of saying, this isn't your problem, this is mine. Or sometimes that's just God's way of saying, this isn't for you to take care of yet. I need you to look at this, or I need you to take care of that. In growing, in building, in order to be successful in your growth, in order to be successful in building anything that you wish to be able to be made manifest, you have to be patient. Everything takes time. Everything happens in its own time. It takes I may be quoting this incorrectly, but this is just to give a good example. It takes 13 hours to build a Toyota, but it takes 6 months to build a Rolls Royce. The reason it takes so much longer to build a Rolls Royce versus a Toyota is the parts needed. You don't want to fast track your life so much so that you just end up with a Toyota. And in the same sense, you don't want to get just partially patient, or the point where you be like, okay, I'm being patient, and you want to build up to that 6 month Rolls Royce. You want to be able to build beyond the Rolls Royce. That's the image that God is trying to get you to perceive. We get our minds stuck on this one idea, of what we want, on this one idea of how we can see life to be. We get this one idea, we get we get this one big idea to the point that we want to just build and grow and become that one thing. But God is saying, I have so much more for you. All I need for you to do is sit still, be patient, and wait. Or all I need you to do is be still so that you can focus on what I need you to see. In growing, in building, and in going through the process the way that God needs you to process things, you have to realize that you do not know everything. Meaning that you have to realize that no matter how much you want to feel like you're on top of something new, you can't be on top of something new. Or in the sense of saying, whenever you feel like you can perfect something that you just learned as new, you got to get out of the mindset of, I'm in a new situation, I can perfect it now. You can't master a class that you just started. And whether you're able to see it or not, certain aspects of your life you have just started. Whether it's negative or positive, or rather whether it was a negative reason or a positive reason. Whether it was in a negative sense, whether it was a loss of a job, a loved one, a relationship, an item, a thing, or in a positive sense, you gained every single one of those things. Regardless, you have broken into something new. That means you can't bring old ideas and old mindsets into an entirely new area. You can't it's almost like mixing oil and water. You can't mix oil and water. No matter how much you put them together, they'll still separate. And that's because you cannot bring the old into the new. You have to be willing to break away the old in order to make room for the new. So, in learning the divine flow of God and allowing yourself to build along with the process of God and allowing yourself to be okay with His plan and having to be patient, or just having to sit back and be like, okay, I'm going to wait, you begin to see so much more. You begin to see life for what it can be. It's like It's almost like you focus. It's almost like you focusing on the picture. It's almost like you were once focusing on the picture. You had this big picture in front of you, and you was just focused on one small area because there was this one piece that you could not get, or it was this one piece, or this one section of the picture that you wanted to get done with because you wanted to see exactly what that last piece looked like. And now God is getting you in a position of bringing you back, pulling you back a little bit to bring you to His perspective. So now you can go from focusing on this one aspect, and now you can see the whole thing. And by being able to see the entire bigger picture, you're able to see exactly why you're where you're at, whether it's a negative, whether you're looking at it in a negative, whether you're looking at your situation in a negative sense or in a positive sense. When you let go and set back and let God in to where you once was, to let God do what He needs to do, you begin to see exactly how much peace, joy, balance, and clarity that God will bring to you. When you take the courage to allow yourself to lean in full faith, no matter how stressful, no matter how messed up, no matter how frustrated, no matter how depressed, no matter how doubtful even that you get, when you break past all of that, when you pass those tests, whether it's with flying colors or by the skin of your teeth, when you pass those tests, it's an entirely different world. It's an entirely different. It's like a, it's like it's like a flower breaking through the concrete and finally blossoming. It's like the roots. It's like the soil under the concrete finally breaking through the surface and seeing sunlight once, seeing sunlight again, or seeing sunlight for the first time. When you refocus, and when you allow yourself to flow with God, not even pain can really affect you. Like last week, I was just telling y'all about an issue that I was having with my tooth. Y'all, I've been down for almost 5 days. Just yesterday, I started feeling like myself again, just barely. And today, I was still kind of groggly. And I'll be honest, I took an energy drink. I drank an energy drink just to make sure that I was up enough to be able to stay alert and speak the things that I needed to speak to y'all today. Just last week, after I got done recording. No, it wasn't after I got done recording yesterday. It was Thursday. Last Thursday, I was finally able to get some antibiotics for my tooth. Y'all, when I say I made one of the biggest mistakes in my entire life, long story short, I had a very bad reaction to some antibiotics. Long story short, I was down for a good solid, like just literally, when I say down, meaning that I could barely really want to get up. I just wanted to just lay down and sleep type tip. My entire body ached. It was like it 3 full days straight of this. I say 3 full days. It is like 3 full days of hell righteously. And it's like, for me, it was, in my mind, I was like, I done went through literally 2.5 weeks solid of consistent head banging, aching toothache pain in my tooth for 2 weeks straight, only to get the cure, or only to get the antibiotics to assist in removing the infection, and it puts me down too. So not only have I been in, not only was I sick, or rather, not only was I just in excruciating pain for 2 weeks straight, that landslided me into then being bedridden almost for 3 solid days off of antibiotics. And when I say these antibiotics had me messed up, these antibiotics, they were entirely too strong. I ain't gonna lie, I don't have any tooth pain anymore. I'll say that, I don't have any tooth pain anymore. But as you can see, I'm still a bit shaky. I'm still trying to get out my, get everything back together and whatnot. But like, I'm just using that as an example to say that you can't wait for anything. For one, you can't wait for anything in the sense of saying you can't, like, whenever physical ailments, any kind of mental ailment, anything that tries to come at you, you can't let it shake you. Sometimes you just, so many different things are going to come at you in so many different ways. When you're trying to grow and you're trying to build on the path of God, so many different things are going to knock off that flow. When one thing doesn't work, it's going to always come in another arena, and it's going to always keep coming back to back until you conquer it. And once you conquer it, it is no more. It is no more. I'm gonna use this tooth pain as an example to kind of get you to understand exactly what I mean. With this toothache, although I have been having consistent issues with it consistently consistently, primarily because these teeth should have been removed out of my mouth. Being that I've had a consistent issue with this toothache, every single time I get this toothache, it's like I turn into a different person. And I had to realize that I cannot allow that to occur. No matter what I'm going through, no matter how intensely it hits me, I cannot allow it to change who I am. I cannot allow it to change how I come off to other people, and I cannot allow it to change how I feel inside. When you reach a certain amount of pain, you begin to feel a certain type of way. And I ain't gonna lie, I was frustrated, I was pissed off, I was mad, I was speaking some of everything. And it's like, I use that as an example of what not to do. I use that as an example of what not to do. I use that as an example of how to break away from every single form of negativity. No matter what pain I'm in, no matter what I'm going through emotionally, that's one of my missions. No matter what I'm going through, I have to break away from the negativity. I have to break away from as much of the negative as I possibly can. If I have control over the way that I react to it, then I will control the way that I react to it. And this is the way that you got to go about every single thing in your life. No matter what's coming at you, you cannot allow it to shake your faith. You cannot allow it to shake your plans. You cannot allow it to shake your thought process. You cannot allow it to shake your determination. You cannot allow it to shake your decision. If you made a decision and you stood on that decision, you cannot then allow anything to shake that decision. And that's another thing. That's another aspect where patience comes back in at. When you stand on the decision, matter of fact, stand for nothing and you'll fall for anything. So if you make a solid decision and you set it in your heart, stand on it. No matter how much you shake, no matter how everything around you shake you, if you're trying to shake a drug, if you're trying to shake a drink, if you're just trying to shake any kind of habit of a thought, if you're trying to shake a thought process habit, or if you just want to switch something up, once you have set it upon your heart, do not let it up off your heart until it has manifested itself up off your heart. Meaning that no matter what decisions that you have made, let no one change you. Let no one change your mind. If you feel it in your heart, and if you've consulted it, more importantly, if you've consulted it with God after feeling it upon your heart, because it was God who placed it upon your heart, stand on that. The stronger and the more that you stand in God, the stronger you become, and the faster things begin to manifest. The reason I feel like I can confidently say the faster thing begins to manifest is because if you think about it, the more that you adapt and learn to solve your problems, the less problems you have. Because the more that you adapt and learn as you solve those problems, you realize how those problems came about. And then in your adaptation, you begin to learn how to avoid those problems. So don't fear. Don't fear your problems. Don't fear anything that you're going through. Have absolutely no fear, because there's literally nothing to fear. God will never take you where his grace cannot protect you. And he will never take you this far just to leave you. He would literally never take you this far just to leave you. He would never take you this far just to take you this far. There's always something else. All you got to do is keep pushing. And I pray that you have the courage to do so. And in Jesus' name, we both pray and claim for each and every single one of y'all a divinely blessed, God-willed, and God-filled day. Y'all have a good one.